Your body is not yours. It never was. From the moment you first drew breath, the course of your life had already been charted. You are born in Persia, a land where kings ruled with fire and priests spoke with the authority of gods. Here, your father can order you to marry your brother, and no heaven will intervene to save you. You are bound not by love or choice, but by a chain older than memory. Step inside the palaces and fire temples, and you'll see something darker than the golden walls. Here, purity was worshipped, yet incest was praised. Here, women were paraded in temples, their bodies surrendered to strangers. Here, boys were cut and mutilated, bound forever to guard the king. And you are not a distant observer. You are inside this world. You are the daughter ordered to marry your brother, the captive dragged into a harem under the cold eyes of eunuchs, the boy forced beneath the knife so he will never know a woman. This was ancient Persia, where sex was politics, where pleasure was power, and what you call sin, they called sacred duty. Picture this. You are a young Persian girl born into a noble house. From your first cries, your body has been marked as an offering. Priests whisper of your duty, and your parents nod, resigned. That duty is not to a stranger or to some distant family. No, your duty is to your own blood. One day your father calls you into his chamber. He does not lower his voice, nor does he look ashamed. He speaks plainly, as though telling you tomorrow's weather. You will marry your brother. The words do not strike him as cruel. They do not hang heavy in the air. In Persia, this is not scandal. It is not whispered behind closed doors. It is celebrated, for at the heart of Zoroastrian belief, the faith of the Persian kings, incest was not filth. It was holy. They called it zoroastrianism, marriage with one's own kin. The priests taught that this act was the greatest of good deeds. Why? Because it kept bloodlines pure, untainted by outsiders, because it strengthened creation itself. For the royal family, it meant one thing above all. Power stayed locked inside the same house. Imagine your wedding day. There are no gasps, no shame. The court gathers, garlands of flowers hang from the hall, musicians play. When your brother takes your hand, the crowd cheers. To them you are not victims. You are champions of devotion, imitators of the gods themselves. But beyond Persia, the whispers are venomous. Greek travelers recoil. Herodotus, the father of history, calls it barbaric. Strabo and Plutarch write of it with disgust. To them, Persia is a land rotting at its core, a kingdom gilded in incestuous corruption. Yet for the Persians this is not corruption, it is perfection. Their kings themselves practiced it. Cambyses II, son of Cyrus the Great, is said to have married his sisters. Rumors swirled around Darius, Xerxes, and their dynasties. For them, sharing the marriage bed with their own blood was not taboo, but a royal right. Picture a king reclining in his golden chamber, summoning his sister not as sibling, but as wife. The priests justified it with scripture. In the Vendidad, one of the sacred texts, Xuedoda is praised above all deeds. A man who marries his mother, his sister, or his daughter, they taught, secures salvation for his soul. They said such unions imitated the divine order itself. But the reality is not divine. It is flesh on flesh. It is a girl with no choice. It is a father lifting his daughter's veil on her wedding night. It is silence heavy as a tomb, silk shuffling in the dark. The girl's breath catches in her throat. She has been told this is sacred, yet every nerve screams it is wrong. But there is no escape. To refuse is not just to defy family, but to defy God himself. And so the ritual endured for centuries. Kings defended it, nobles upheld it, priests sanctified it. To outsiders, it was sickness. To Persians, it was purity. But for the women trapped inside it, it was a prison without walls. Now imagine you are pregnant. The child within you is not just your son or daughter, it is your niece, your nephew, your sibling by blood. A circle that twists upon itself until words lose meaning. To Persia, this child is blessed. To you, it is a living chain you can never break. The Greeks seized upon this practice as propaganda. To them, Persian kings were incestuous tyrants. But inside the empire, these unions safeguarded dynasties. Bringing in an outsider meant risk, rival loyalties, foreign claims to the throne. But a queen who was also your sister could betray no house but your own. Publicly, adultery was punished with brutal severity. A woman who strayed was mutilated or executed. Yet incest was praised as holy. To outsiders, it was hypocrisy. To Persians, it was balance. The priests taught that to refuse incest invited demons into the soul, while accepting it secured paradise. Imagine the royal daughter at the altar, trembling behind her veil. The priests chant, the fire crackles, her brother's hand tightens around hers. Tears blur her eyes, but here tears are not grief. They are holy offerings. The vows bind her not only to her brother, but to the gods themselves. Now picture the chamber that night. No crowds, no music. Only two siblings under the gaze of fire and silence. His hands are not gentle. Hers cannot push him away. Outside, priests wait to hear of consummation, because without it, the union is incomplete. The same breath that once blew across her cradle now presses hot against her neck. She is crushed beneath his weight, unable to resist. To cry out is to curse the gods. To resist is to betray her father's house. This is salvation, they say. And if she conceives, the court rejoices. The unborn child is called doubly pure, the dynasty tighter than before. But in the shadows of her mind, one word whispers again and again, abomination. But incest was not the only ritual demanded of women. Beyond the palace, temples demanded their own sacrifices. Imagine you are a woman of Babylon, conquered and ruled by Persia. In this city, one law overshadows all others. Herodotus tells us that once in her life, every woman must surrender herself in the temple of Ishtar. Rich or poor, noble or peasant, it made no difference. All must give their body to a stranger in the name of the goddess. You enter the temple courtyard with hundreds of others. Some are wrapped in jewels, others in rags. All sit together beneath the looming temple walls. Men circle like wolves, merchants, foreigners, soldiers. One by one, women are chosen. A man steps forward, throws a coin into her lap, speaks the goddess's name. The woman must rise and follow him. There is no refusal. The coin may be gold or copper. It matters not. Now, it is your turn. A shadow falls across you. A stranger's hand tosses a coin into your lap. The metal is cold against your skin. He mutters the goddess's name, sealing the ritual. You tremble. Your stomach twists. But the priests are watching. You must obey. Through a side passage, you're led into a dark chamber. There is no sanctity here, only stone walls and the stench of sweat. The man does not know your name, does not care who you are. He touches you roughly. Your body is not yours. You close your eyes and remind yourself of the only comfort. It will end. When you return, the priests declare you purified. The coin is yours to keep, but its weight is nothing compared to the emptiness inside you. To Herodotus, no custom was more shameful. To the Greeks, This was proof of Babylon's corruption. Some historians wonder if he exaggerated, but whether true or not, the image stuck. A city where women were offerings to gods and strangers alike. If the temple demanded women once, the palace demanded them for a lifetime. Behind golden gates lay the harem. To distant lands, the word sounded exotic, but within its walls, it was a prison of silks and shadows. You are dragged through the gates of Persepolis. Your wrists ache from shackles. You are taken after conquest, one of many Greek girls seized in war. Inside the harem, the air smells of incense, but beneath it lies sweat and tears. Hundreds of women whisper in tongues from every corner of the empire. Jewels glitter on their bodies, but bruises bloom beneath silk, and watching them are the eunuchs, men cut and mutilated so they could be trusted to guard women without desire. Their eyes are blank, their presence suffocating. They are both victims and wardens. The harem is a nest of schemes. Women whisper and plot, rivals poison one another, mothers smother rival sons in the cradle. To survive here is not about beauty, but cunning. Fail, and you vanish. One night, the eunuch comes for you, his face blank, his voice empty. You have been chosen. Your heart stops. You are led through a corridor heavy with incense. The chamber glitters with gold and crimson. The king himself waits. To the world, he is godlike. To you, he is a shadow. He will take what he wants and leave. You will not be seen as a woman. You will be a possession. Here, sex is not desire. It is domination. But the cruelty of Persia did not fall on women alone. Boys, too, were claimed. You are 12 when soldiers take you, a tribute from your village, chosen not because you are weak, but because you are strong. You march toward the palace with pride until whispers reach you, cut, mutilated, unmanned. The truth comes in a cold chamber. You are forced down, stripped bare. The knife flashes. Pain sears your body deeper than words. You scream until your voice breaks. When you wake, something is gone. You are no longer a boy, but not a man. You are a eunuch. Some die from the wound. You survive, but survival is not mercy. You are placed in the harem, trusted to guard women. The king sees you as safe, harmless. But you learn quickly you are not powerless. The women bribe you, beg you, seduce you in ways you cannot answer. You cannot take their bodies, but you can decide their fates. Your mutilation becomes your weapon. Eunuchs rise as confidants, spies, kingmakers. With no family, you are a eunuch. Some die from the wound. You survive. But survival is not mercy. You are placed in the harem, trusted to guard women. The king sees you as safe, harmless. But you learn quickly you are not powerless. The women bribe you, beg you, seduce you in ways you cannot answer. You cannot take their bodies, but you can decide their fates. Your mutilation becomes your weapon. Eunuchs rise as confidants, spies, kingmakers. With no families, no heirs. They are perfect servants and perfect prisoners. Years pass. The pain dulls, but never disappears. You become a shadow at the king's side, privy to secrets that could topple dynasties. Once you screamed on the stone floor. Now you whisper in the ear of kings. But Persia's indulgence did not hide in shadows. It spilled into the open in feasts and banquets that blurred into orgies, where cruelty became theater. Night, the feast is no longer. Lust, power, and indulgence blur until you cannot tell them apart. But the same hall that reveled in excess delivered punishment with equal spectacle. A woman is dragged in, accused of adultery. She is stripped naked before the crowd. The courtiers laugh, jeer, as soldiers whip her until blood streaks her back. She begs for death. It is not granted. She is paraded broken, her suffering made entertainment. Here, sex was never private. It was ritual, it was power, it was punishment. By dawn, the hall reeks of wine, sweat, blood, and tears. The king retires. The nobles collapse in exhaustion, but the echoes remain, the laughter, the screams, the mingling of cruelty and desire. This was Persia, an empire that dazzled with gardens and palaces, that preached purity and sacred fire. Yet beneath its marble floors ran a darker current. Kings spoke of truth and order while practicing incest. Palaces glowed with splendor while hiding women in caves. Priests sanctified mutilation in the name of loyalty. Every body was measured, used, discarded. Empires die when armies fall, when palaces crumble, but sins do not die. They linger, they whisper in ruins, reminding the world of what was buried. Think of Persia. Do not see only its golden crowns or shining halls. Remember the women forced into their brothers' arms, the girls stripped in temples, the captives in harems, the boys cut into silence. They were the true foundation of the empire. Their whispers are the voices that survive.